What's up guys, BucklingOne here and welcome to another Call of Duty Black Ops 3 video. Today I want to take a look at the sights in the game and how they perform, specifically to how they sway when idle, or easier said I suppose is how much idle sway is on the sights. Now there is idle sway in the game, it is built into the game, and basically what it is to simulate real life I suppose, and how you actually would hold a weapon in real life. It is impossible to hold a weapon in real life dead steady if you're literally just extending your arms and holding it and aiming down the sight. I mean, it is impossible. If you have a bipod or something like that, yes, I'm sure it's very possible to do, but definitely not when you're just extending your arms and aiming the weapon. And I think this has been built into the game and many of the other Call of Duties as well to simulate that real life experience. So we're going to take a look at all the sights in the game, and we're going to have a look and see how they compare when matched up to the idle sway. Now first here you'll see that I'm using the Shiva, I'm using the Reflex on the Shiva, and this has an odd kind of property I suppose, is that it does not an awful lot of idle sway on the Reflex Sight on the Shiva, which I was very surprised to see. I will be doing another test with the Reflex Sight later on in the video to show you actually what the idle sway is like, but it is quite strange that there's no idle sway whatsoever on the Reflex Sight on the Shiva. Now we have the M87, which has the Recon scope, and for me, if you're into long range encounters, the Recon scope is definitely the best scope to be using because there's virtually no idle sway as well, and it has a very fast recenter speed, which you can see there. It's extremely fast, and that's very useful. Here we have the Varix on the Gorgon. Now the Varix has an awful lot of idle sway. You can see here, either zoomed in or zoomed out, there's an awful lot of idle sway. You can see when I start to aim from the original center point, it does move around in a circular motion away from where I originally aimed, and it does stray quite far as well, which is something you definitely have to take into consideration when aiming or pre-aiming with the sight. It can cause you to shoot off target I suppose, or you'll have to move to recenter your sight again, so definitely take this into consideration. Now we're using the thermal sight on the Locus, and you can see again, like the Varix, there is a lot of idle sway, but on the thermal sight it's a lot faster, it's more deliberate I suppose. You can see it is moving around quite a bit as well, and as far as I know the thermal sight doesn't actually have any auto aim built in, or aim assist I suppose is what you can call it, but as far as I know the thermal sight doesn't have any aim assist built in whatsoever, and I'll be doing another video on that soon as well, aim assist and how that works in Black Ops 3. Now we have the BOA3 Sight on the Vesper, and I have to say the BOA3 Sight is probably one of my least favourite sights in the game. There's quite a lot of idle sway on it as well, but I don't understand why you would need a blue or a red indicator to show if a person you're aiming at is a friend or an enemy. It's just, it doesn't make sense to me. I automatically know who I'm aiming at all the time. Maybe for hardcore it might be a little bit different, but I don't know, it's just something that I don't like at all. I never use the BOA3 Sight, and I do see quite a lot of people using it as well, so maybe it has its uses, but for me definitely I never use the BOA3 Sight. But again, you can see that idle sway. Now another strange property I found with the ELO sight is when equipped on the shotguns. This is the 205 Brecci here. As you can see, there's literally no idle sway whatsoever. I went a bit mad firing it there, but when you actually just look at the ADS and look at it aimed in, there's no sway whatsoever, which is quite strange, so I had to revisit this as well, and you'll see that later on in the video that there is actually idle sway on the ELO scope as well. Okay, so back to the Reflex. Now we have the Reflex equipped on the Vesper, and now you can see that there is idle sway, and it is quite a lot of idle sway as well. It does move quite far from the origin point where you originally centered your aim, and it does move in that kind of slow circular motion up and down and left and right, but there is a lot of sway there. And again, I'm going to keep mentioning, but this is something you definitely have to take into consideration, especially when you're shooting at someone from this range. I mean, that could mean an awful lot of a difference whether you kill an enemy or not. This is the ELO scope on the M87, and when you compare this to the Brecci, it's quite strange because there is definitely idle sway on the ELO scope here on the M8A7. And again, I know I'm saying it over and over, but you really have to take this into consideration, especially when you're aiming at these kind of ranges. I mean, up close is fine because the sway's not gonna affect you that much, but at these kind of ranges, it definitely is if you're using one of these scopes. So please do remember to take this into consideration. But that's all from me, guys, anyway, for the time being. I mean, I will revisit this in other videos. I want to revisit the Recon scope specifically because I feel like the Recon scope is probably one of the most OP scopes in the game, and there's specific reasons for that as well, but we'll look at that in another video. I also want to revisit the aim assist as well and how that's built into the game and how it works, but again, that's for another video. But guys, if you have watched so far and you have liked the video, please leave me a like if you did enjoy this video, and please leave me a comment as well with your thoughts on what scopes you use or what you think of the idle sway in the game and things like that. But that's it from me, guys. My name is BucklingOne. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.